What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Alex. Welcome to Alex Sports Talk and Bets, the best sports capping channel on YouTube. And for those of you who don't know, by sports cap, I don't mean I'm capping. I mean, if you listen to what I predict and what I say and you put a bet in, you're probably going to hit way more often than not. As evidenced by my over 80% prediction rate being correct in these NBA playoffs. So, with that being said, well, Alex, you've been right over 80% of the time so far. So, who do you think is going to the finals between the Spurs and the Wolves? First, let me start off by giving the Spurs their flowers because I did predict them to lose, albeit in seven. Albeit in seven. I did predict them to lose to the Wolves. Now, the reason I predicted them to lose to the Wolves is for two different reasons. I thought Ant Edwards was a little bit more of a dog than Victor Wembanyama was, even though I knew Victor Wembanyama was a dog. I was wrong. I'll take the L on that. Victor is an absolute basketball maniac. He is 100% a dog. And at the worst, he matches Ant Edwards. I do not think Ant Edwards surpasses him anymore. As a matter of fact, we kind of got to have a conversation about Ant Edwards, but I will save that for another day. The second reason that I thought that the Spurs would lose in seven is because the Timberwolves just been there before. They have more playoff experience, a lot more vets. The Timberwolves have been in the playoffs like each of like the last 5 years. They've been in the conference finals 2 years in a row. And I thought that that would play a factor as well. The Spurs stepped up, man. Like they might be young, but they some hoopers and they're not afraid of the moment. I gotta give it to them. Stephon Castle, hooper. You know, De'Aaron Fox, who I've liked for years, by the way, hooper. You know, Dylan Harper, who I like a lot, hooper. You know, Devin Vassell, hooper. So I say all that to say they got some young hoopers who they ain't really trying to hear all that. Oh, you a veteran? They don't care about none of that. They ain't trying to hear none of that. See me on the court. So with that being said, I owe the Spurs an apology. I was wrong. My two reasons for thinking they would lose the last series, neither one was true, and they won the last series. Now, I still took them 6 games, but congratulations to them. I already knew OKC was going to wipe the floor with the Lakers. There wasn't really much to talk about in there. If you know anything about basketball, you should have seen that coming. With that being said, who's going to win this series between OKC and the Spurs? I've got to go with the OKC Thunder. All right, now, if you would have asked me yesterday, not even yesterday, if you would have asked me when the Spurs actually beat the Wolves, who was going to win this series, I would have picked the Spurs because Jalen Williams wasn't announced as being back. But now that I know Jalen Williams is back, I think the Spurs got it. I think the Thunder have it. I think the Thunder are going to win, but I think it's going to be a very good series. People who think there's going to be a cakewalk for the Thunder are out of their minds. We only got about 2 years left, honestly, before Wembanyama takes this whole thing over. So if you're going to win another one with OKC, you better do it now. I've been saying the same thing there because in about 2 years, it's going to be Wemby's league and no one's going to be able to do anything with him. But as of right now, not only do the Thunder have the experience factor, and I know, hey, Alex, you went with that last round with the Wolves and it didn't work out for you. Okay, that lightning's not going to strike twice, all right? A dead clock is right twice a day. But the difference between the Wolves and the Thunder is the Wolves are deep, talented team. The Wolves lacking depth really hurt them in the last series. Now, they would have had Dante DiVincenzo. It would have kind of balanced it out a little bit. But the Thunder have depth. The Thunder also have youth. All right, they're a young team as well. And they have experience. And they have home court advantage. So it's just a lot of things working in the Thunder's favor. But I think it's going to be a very good series because Victor Wembanyama hates the Thunder. I think it's mainly because he hates Chet Holmgren. Now, why does he hate Chet Holmgren? I don't know. I chalk it up to the fact that Chet Holmgren, if I remember correctly, is like 7'2", 7'3". So he's like the closest to Wemby in terms of being a tall, athletic person who can score on 3 levels. Maybe that's what pissed them off. And to be honest with you, if it did, I understand it because there is absolutely no comparison between Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren outside of the fact that they're both 2 tall, lanky dudes. Victor Wembanyama is better than Chet Holmgren at quite literally everything. He has better ball handle. He's a better passer. He's a better rebounder. He's a way better defender, and it's not even close. He's a better scorer on all 3 levels than Chet Holmgren. So there is no comparison. So if that's what teed him off, I respect it. But quite frankly, Wemby's just a dog, and he's just probably tired of having to admit that anyone or any other team is better than him or his team. And that's probably why he hates OKC. Either way, I'm here for it. I think he's going to give them a run. I think his crew, going back to what I said earlier, he has a strong crew. Just real quick, Stephon Castle, dog. Darren Fox, dog. Dylan Harper, dog. Like, he has a very strong crew. But I just don't think it's going to be enough to get him past OKC. Not with Jalen Williams back. Because now you're going up against Ajay Mitchell's been playing out of his mind this playoffs. All right, Chet Holmgren might not be as good as Wemby, but he's still good. All right. Really, I think OKC should rely on my boy Isaiah Hartenstein a little bit more this series. But, we'll see how it plays out. Either way, yeah, Isaiah Hartenstein, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, SGA, Ajay Mitchell's been playing out of his mind. And then they got Jared McCain's little sassy ass over there. And let me say this. Maybe he just doesn't like OKC because they're a sassy ass corny team. Like, OKC is just very corny to me. They're very corny. This whole group interview thing, corny. Why are we doing that? All right? Like, we don't need to do that. All right? I don't know who dresses Chai Alexander, but they must be blind because that man be looking crazy. All right, Jalen Williams be going to the games looking like somebody's auntie. Jared McCain be painting his nails and sachet shantaeing around. So I can understand why he might not. There's a lot of reasons not to like OKC. But at the end of the day, from a basketball perspective, I still think OKC is going to win this series. All right? So I think OKC is going to represent the West in the finals. Now, why everybody keeps saying this is the real conference finals and this is the real finals, I should say. Whoever wins this is going to win the finals. I don't think that's true. For some reason, people keep forgetting OKC, it took them 7 games to beat the Indiana Pacers last year. They didn't just run past the Indiana Pacers. And quite frankly, if we're being honest, if Tyrese Halliburton didn't get hurt, the Pacers probably win that game 7 and win that series. So why everyone's just acting like the West is so far above the East, I don't know. I personally don't see it. I think the Knicks and the Cavs, especially the Knicks, are more than capable of beating either one of these two teams. I don't know why people don't see that, but that's neither here nor there. That's another conversation for another day, just like the one about Anthony Edwards, who I understand the whole neat thing, but at a certain point, Anthony Edwards got to start producing, man. He's got to start producing. We're going on 25, 26 now? It's time to start producing. With all that being said, OKC in 7. All right, that's what I'm going with for the West Conference Finals. And now I'll give you guys my thoughts on the Eastern Conference Finals with the Cavs and the Knicks tomorrow. I am Alex. I am out, y'all. Peace. Let me know what y'all think in the comments about who y'all think is going to win.